So, hello everybody and welcome. My name is Jorge Koechlin. Sometimes they know me as El Hermano Peruano. And in English today, before the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and most important in Las Vegas Grand Prix, don't forget that starts Saturday. That's in a couple of days. We're going to be starting with that timetable that I was trying to bring you, but it's not there. But anyway, this is the deal. It's hot. It's hot. Red hot Ferrari. Ferrari, Maranello, the the darling of Formula One. There's no more Alfa Romeo. There's no more Maserati. There's no more Matra. There's no more Tyrrells. There's no more Lotus. Who's left? McLaren and good old Frank Williams is still there with Williams Engineering. Who else? Haas? Well, Sauber, yeah, they did a good job in winning the World Championship of Makes, and then they had the Formula One team with BMW, Sauber. But it's not Lotus, it's not Alfa Romeo, it's not Matra, it's not Tyrrell, it's not Brabham, that we live with, McLaren, Sao Paulo, with Senna, Benetton perhaps, and Renault. Well, Renault from the beginning, The French have always been there. But anyway, red hot. And I'm having a photograph here for you of Enzo Ferrari at the factory in 1947. That's why Bernie Ecclestone, the ex-head of Formula One, who took all the money, asked Liberty and asked the teams now how much money they're making. Toto Wolff just sold. I mean, where is the news of Toto Wolff? Toto Wolff selling, a percentage is there somewhere of Toto Wolff selling, 2% of his shareholding in Mercedes, and that really is becomes, there we are. He has sold his shares, but he has only sold 5%. And this is where I'm going about Bernie Ecclestone. Bernie Ecclestone made Formula One, and now this guy, Toto, brilliant man, the Austrian, it's Austrian, has sold a sale of the portion, it says here, a sale of the portion. Hey, it's not a sale of the portion, it's 5%. It's 5%. Here it is, 5%. Here we go. He owns 33%, so I sold 5%. And he has sold it to a sponsor of Mercedes for evaluating the team at almost what it is an NFL team, $6 billion. So as I say, Bernie was taking all the money. But anyway, the Scuderia Ferrari, the Formula One, is really under fire. And we just have an opinion here that, here we go, we have an opinion that Elkann really wanted to have Lewis. Ferrari, with all we all as race car drivers, there we are, as race car drivers, as Fangio, by the way, and that's me and the Williams, completely opposite lock going down Paddock Bend at Brands Hatch. Paddock Bend at Brands Hatch, 119.3 in an Aurora with Avon tires. Anyway, so we all want to win Monaco in a Ferrari from the pole, fastest lap and lead all the way. Leclerc. But a couple of guys that we can remember of right now that they ended up their careers in Maranello was Vettel and really Alonso. So the controversy was sparked by the team's chairman, the Agnelli. We have a photo there of Agnelli with, let me see if I can find the photo. There you are. Ferrari and Agnelli. Fiat, Fabbrica Italiana de Turismo Automobile in Turin. He was a crazy guy. He had a track at the building of Fiat. He made a track. And when he was having a fit, or when he wanted to say, why is this car not selling? Oh, bring me the new prototype. He would go out of his office, talk about Henry Ford going in Dearborn and doing it, and he would go and just go around the top of the track is still there somewhere. I'll bring you the photos in a future one. But Agnelli, and the guy who's writing this is Lapo Elkann. Lapo Elkann, he's a character. Lapo Elkann is a character. That's John Elkann. He was the nephew, the grandnephew, but Norwegian. From the beginning, Giovanni Agnelli said, this is the guy that I want him to manage Fiat. So that's where we are. Come on, show me. Images, there we are. Images, Elkann. And there's Ferrari, another nice photo of the Commendatore. Huh? Not bad. That's a Mille Miglia car. I wouldn't be surprised. One of them Portago or one of them getting ready. So John Elkann made a public statement following the disappointing Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Talk about disappointment. I mean, disappointment for Ferrari, but disappointment in Mercedes has had some disappointment. Kimi Antonelli, during the European time, the championship, we call it the European Championship, before we go off to Brazil and the Middle East and America. But in Europe, Kimi Antonelli only got 3 points. Imagine if Kimi Antonelli would have done that in Ferrari. The kid, still in school, Corriere della Sera, even the Vatican, even the Pope would have said, what's going on here with this kid? Get rid of this kid, 17 years old. He only got 3 points in Mercedes. So you get the drift. The public statements of the disappointing Sao Paulo Grand Prix of Elkann, it has created a rift between the leadership and the drivers. I was just looking at Autosport. Was it Autosport? No, in here. It has created a rift in Lewis Hamilton. You know, that he's been struggling to explain by Valtteri Bottas what is going on. And then Ferrari's president theory. This is what's hot today. This is what I'm bringing you here to be able to share together. And he was publicly called out after the Brazilian Grand Prix disaster. Following the race weekend, both Charles Leclerc and Sir Lewis Hamilton retired. It was a disaster. Porca miseria, Italiano. It was a funeral march. Like when all the Cosa Nostra goes in front of the other, and everybody's in the balcony watching there in Sicilia how they go in front. It was a requiem. Both a double DNF, and John Elkann opened his mouth. Much like the Commendatore when he called Enzo Ferrari, he called all the Italians the garagistas. Garagistas is this despicable term. And Elkann then went on and praised the mechanics and engineers for their work, suggesting that they had improved the car, and that really where they are doing very well is in areas like pit stops. God, how can you say that? Not on engine development, not on the push rod suspension in the back that might, they're saying that next year's car, the 2026, is going to be push rod in the back and in the front. And Lewis is having a hard time getting used to that push rod suspension in the back. Have you seen him how many times he's spun under braking or going into a corner? He doesn't spin in the middle of, the apex when the wheel is following. No, he spins before. And the criticism was directed at the rest of the operation. Imagine, they're doing very well, the engineers and the mechanics and the pit stops, but the rest? Freddy Vasseur? Huh? Freddy Vasseur? Where are you, Freddy Vasseur? Where are you, Freddy Vasseur? That they were, There you are, Freddy Vasseur. And those two are the ones that brought Lewis. Those two. Vasseur had Lewis when he was in F2 or before that. And Elkann was in love with bringing this fashion Englishman, sir. Another one, like Vettel, Alonso, and so many. And so many. And the most controversial directive was telling the drivers, you need to shut up. You need to focus on driving and talk less. Funny thing, he says it in English. If I was Elkann, I would say it in Italiano. What are you doing speaking English? In Italiano, because the Italian press is going to like it. Ferrari was adored by the Italian press, Corriere della Sera, Autosprint, and God knows who else, even the Vatican. And the priest at the church, they ring the bells when Ferrari wins in Maranello. So he should have said that in Italian, John Elkann. By the way, I have a certain relationship with Elkann. He spent his honeymoon in Peru, in Machu Picchu. But anyway. And he was implying the public frustration and comments about the car performance. The car performance were detrimental to the team. Driver reaction, team tensions, public chastisement from the chairman led to immediate and notable reactions from the targeted drivers. Oh, let's see what they have to say. Lewis Hamilton responded, and here we have Johnny Herbert has rebuffed President Johnny Herbert. He's the one that pushed Verstappen out of the Mexican Grand Prix because he just hated Verstappen. But he says that, winning the championship and laying blame at the feet of those in the Maranello factory rather than the under fire drivers. Oh, yes. And Lewis Hamilton said, I back my team. I back myself. I will not give up. Not now, not then, not ever. Lewis, you're driving a Ferrari. You haven't been able to get a podium? Kimi's got a podium. Sainz won a race. There's not much wrong with that car. Lewis, are you a 7-time world champion? Well, 6 with Mercedes. That Mercedes engine made you, and that's what I see now. I'm a fan of Lewis Hamilton. He's a great, great driver. But if you're driving a Ferrari and you don't even get a podium in 15, 16 races, what are you talking about? What's happening with you? Because racing cars is a mental institution. They're all mental. Oh, they just found a second in that car. Oh, they say that they have new brakes in the rear, and McLaren, they're cheating. McLaren is cheating in the rear, and we have cameras pointing at the tires. You know what they have in McLaren in the back? They have a beautiful turbo system, an airflow system in that big rear upright with the brakes. They have a system of air. That's why the FIA has looked at it and said it's legal. Much like, Newey with Red Bull, with DRS, talking the same language with the diffuser. Checo set that up. Checo Perez set up that before 3 or 4 races. He was in the pits fixing the DRS. Checo is having problems with the DRS. No. It was Newey who was the first one that managed the language to talk the diffuser with the DRS. That was the secret of RBR, the same as McLaren. And Leclerc, Monsieur Leclerc du Monégasque, he opted for a more diplomatic tone, stressing that only unity can help the team turn the situation around. Well, but there are wider implications and historical context, and that's what I would like. We know Carlo Kitty in Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo comes in, with oil and everything. And they asked Ingeniero Kitty, what happened to the Alfa Romeo? Ah, porca miseria, Magneti Marelli. Come on, the electrics. It's like, Lucas in England, you know how they call them? The Prince of Darkness. And Kitty was blaming Magneti Marelli. But the incident also highlights deeper issues within the famous Maranello team. It's the culture of blame. Elkann's criticism is seen by many, and that's why I'm bringing you this here, because I'm there. And this is part of an age-old Ferrari tradition of the top management publicly pressuring or blaming the drivers when the car's performance are lacking. Have you seen that film Grand Prix? Czech Grand Prix with that beautiful François Hardy. You remember Grand Prix? Well, the best movie of car racing, well, next to McQueen's Le Mans, Steve McQueen. But anyway, François Hardy was the lover, the girlfriend of the Ferrari driver that is there on the front row. You know what Enzo Ferrari did? He brought reputedly, who at the time they were saying that this girl of the race car driver was having an affair with a musician. And he put on the grid before the start, watch the Grand Prix, Enzo put, and this is a true story, Enzo put François Hardy, the girlfriend of the driver, next to the singer. And you could see that the guy went off and said, well, first, I'm going to prove to her who I am. You know, I am the best. Secondly, I don't care if I kill myself today. And that's what they've done always at Ferrari. Bring in, Fondo Portago. They brought in Portago, the Marquis, lover boy, to hurry up Peter Collins. And also, anyway, many critics, let's continue with this, the car performance, before I start telling you the story, the love story of everybody. Fondo Portago had a very beautiful American girlfriend that even Enzo tried to pick up. It's on the film. Ferrari versus Ford. You can see it. They're testing at the old Fiorano. But the core problem is not the driver focus, is it? Here we go. Are we going to blame the car? The SF25 has flaws, inconsistency, technical issues with ride height and tire wear. Mercedes, we know, Mercedes-Benz, they warm up their tires very well. They're going to do very well in Las Vegas. There's going to be at night, cold. Las Vegas is going to be cold. And McLaren, they say, Stella says that, they fixed their issues of last year. That McLaren doesn't go well in Vegas. Mercedes does, because they do very well in warming up their tires and the tire wear. But Ferrari has that rear suspension, which is a completely different story, which is that is a push rod suspension. It's the only team that has in the back that type of suspension. So then Elkann, the Agnelli blue-eye boy, did the WEC comparison, the World Endurance Championship. I don't know why they changed the names. Bernie changed the names to upset the Automobile Club del Oeste, the Le Mans, very good people, and they're always against FIA. Anyway, it should have been the Championship of Makes. It was always the World Championship of Makes. Porsche, Matra, Ligiers. Now, Elkann fueled the controversy. He cited Ferrari's recent World Endurance Championship victory as proof of what a company can achieve when united, drawing a comparison that many in the F1 world found irrelevant and simplistic. It's a different story. The crisis then suggests a significant power struggle. You think so? I don't know. And a lack of unity You think so? Well, Lewis doesn't speak Italian. You have to speak Italian. Clay Regazzoni, please, Gianclaudio, our great friend. He used to cook the pasta and the spaghetti for all the team. Him, the driver. He would get out of the car and cook the pasta. Adored by everybody. They will spend their money in buying things for the team. So the chairman's intervention risking further demoralizing the drivers? I don't think so. I mean, Lewis, I think, is already known. Please, you're driving a Ferrari and you can't get a podium? I don't care what kind of Ferrari it is. It could be the worst Ferrari in history, which is not. Science show you that. Science was kind of beating Leclerc a lot. So Leclerc also is a blue-eyed boy, Monegasque, and he speaks Italian. He knows the Maranello cook, and that he has a daughter of 15 years old. He goes to birthday parties of Giuseppe, of William, of everybody there in Mauro. All of them they know by name Leclerc. Lewis, and then you don't listen to what they're talking. So the technical and structural, the structure, they have to do is something that we have to wait and see, because they were both called by. Anyway, what else is going on? Christian Horner, very quickly, I have to bring you this. I didn't see it. He's changed, Zak Brown says. Zak Brown likes to fight with everybody. He can't see eye to eye with Chip Ganassi. That lawsuit that they have with Palau is not to do with Palau. Well, Palau was an idiot in signing a contract and then thinking that he didn't have to go and do it because they weren't going to give him the Formula One ride. That's not an excuse, Alex. Your management really dropped the ball there, but Zak hates Chip Ganassi. They're both Americans. They must have had some sort of... Well, Chip is not the easiest person to get along. I know the Chipster and his father, Floyd. We used to play gin rummy with Floyd Ganassi. And Chipster is not the easiest guy to get along. Neither is Zak Brown. So there you are. I don't know what's going to happen there. The thing is that Ferrari is not going to go well in Vegas, the tire wear. Now, championship. And I leave you because we're already long here. Don't forget, Thursday, Las Vegas. Thursday, Friday, the Grand Prix is Saturday night, Las Vegas, California time, which is a good time. It's very late in Europe. Anyway, Lando Norris is not going to win the race. Anyway, I know what I was going to tell you about Christian Horner is I didn't see it. Alpine, 24% of Alpine is owned by a company called Otro Capital, that is Ryan Reynolds, an actor, an American Hollywood actor, with another actor. They're both billionaires. They have bought football teams. They have invested in this and that, Ryan Reynolds. And they also have the two Kansas City NFL team members, the one that throws the ball, the quarterback, Mahomes, and lover boy Travis Kelce of Taylor Swift fame. Anyway, those two and the other two, they have 24% of Alpine, when the team was valued at $900 million. They bought 24% for $218 million. $218 million years ago. It was a team that nobody wanted to be involved. But these kids, they saw it. Like in hiding, recluse, I'm not going to say his name, in the Channel Islands, that bought Williams out of the Deutsche Börse for $300 million. That guy. And now he has James Valls, and they're already halfway up the grid. And the Spanish press, when Sainz signed for Williams. Hoy, coñazo, coñazo, joder, porca miseria, what are you doing, Sainz from Ferrari, going to the worst team, Williams? And I say, you know what, Checo, go to Williams, take all your sponsors, because that's going to be the team. That's the eye that we have learned. So anyway, I had not seen that this guy can buy the 24% of the Americans for $1.1 billion. They put it for 200. The Americans are there to make money. They don't care. He's going to pay $1 billion. The team, is going to be worth $6 billion. They have Mercedes-Benz engines next year. So, but anyway, this is about Zach Brown believes that Christian Horner has changed. Anyway, before I go, you know who's going to Aston Martin? You know who's going to Aston Martin? And you heard that here with me, Jorge Koechlin presents. Jorge Koechlin presents. Piastri is going to Aston Martin. Aramco is not going to have Stroll, and the risk that something happens to Alonso, and there they are with Adrian Newey. Forget about Stroll. This is Aramco. They have Adrian Newey, they have Honda. And who's the number one driver? Lance Stroll? The worst qualifier. I mean, beautiful kid, everything. He must be a very nice person, whatever. I'm not, because he's rich. I'm not, no. His numbers. He's the worst qualifier in Formula One in all history. Lance Stroll. What happens to Alonso? Alonso has a problem. And Piastri is going to Aston Martin 2026. You want more? You're salivating already or thinking that I'm crazy? Who's going to McLaren? Sainz. He only has a 1-year contract with Williams. He said, okay, I got to sign 2025 because I have nowhere else to go. But in 2026, I can go anywhere. And nobody's wanted him. Nobody's asked him to come. Well, he's going to McLaren. Sainz. With that, thank you very much. My name is Jorge Koechlin. There you are. DataCast. Fierro Fondo, the practice qualifying is beautiful to watch. It's pure telemetry, pure numbers. It's delightful. There you are, you're watching. I tell you, I was a broadcaster all my life. IndyCar, Formula One, whatever. ESPN, Fox, Daytona. I did the first Daytona in Espanol for speed. I've done, the first Barrett Jackson in Espanol for Discovery. I keep on chasing dreams. Apple, here I am in case you need me. And I can tell you, when you are broadcasting a race, you are kidnapped. You are kidnapped to what is on camera. That's what you have to do. My friend Mike Walters in Formula One in ESPN, Jorge, talk about what's going on there. Hey, I want you to. Okay, no, I don't know why. Here. Nope, here. Okay, and then I want to show you in Automundo that the internet is really slow, so I can't bring it to you. You have the local time, and you have it there. Automundo. See you. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow we're gonna be. We're gonna do 2 tomorrow. So subscribe. Do the main like. Where are you? The main like. Hey, you main like. Where are you? Showing current scene. I thought I had showing all scenes, showing current scene. Come on, where are you? Like and subscribe. It's not there. Huh? I thought I had it. Where are you? Welcome, iPad. No. Anyway, like, subscribe. Thank you. And there it is underneath Jorge. Because tomorrow I'm going to bring you what the track is, Las Vegas, the Qatar problem with the tires, 50 laps. The championship is still open, huh? That Aladino, I call him Cuco, Max Verstappen, the lamp, boom, comes out, he might win it. And then what else? And I have a setup page of camber corners, toe-in angles from Williams. It's actually on Formula One. You can see it in Formula One, Sam Collins. Well, I've got it, and I'm going to bring it to you in English and in Spanish. Thank you very much, everybody. Jorge Koechlin, verde, verde, verde.